Is today the day the deadlock is broken?
One of these teams probably will crack.
Here we go, boys.
The start, super critical.
No, we don't tack.
It's a big drag race to this left boundary.
We're looking for a good time here.
Advantage now, back to the British.
First leg of 8 done, and it's neck and neck.
Oh, massive splashdown by the Italian team.
No, we've broken everything.
Major problems on Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
They went from 42 knots to 8. It's a car crash.
This is going to be a major shift in the Louis Vuitton Cup.
Italy is retired, the race is stopped and awarded to Great Britain.
There are frantic repairs on board Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
I'm confident that we're going to make it for the start.
We are in for another classic in the America's Cup.
This is the umpire's GBR boundary penalty.
A massive mistake there by the British team.
What if he tacks? I think we hit him.
Comms on board Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli sound so calm. We're business as usual.
Would you believe it? Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli lead Ineos Britannia. Another piece of America's Cup history is created. It's 4-all. Luna Rossa win.
Bravo, boys. Super proud. Nice one.
We're running out of races, so it's getting tighter and tighter, and it may well go all the way.
My feeling is the momentum's coming our way.
Once again, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli came from behind and did the job.
The bounce back race, I thought, was the best one yet.
Molt bona tarda from Barcelona. It's day 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup final between Italy and Great Britain. Two fierce rivals locked in an epic battle. At 4-all, the teams are trading nail-biting wins. This is a roller coaster. There have been ups and downs, and the pressure is really starting to show. What we're learning very quickly, one minute mistake is costly, and a breakdown on your boat could threaten to derail your whole campaign. Both teams are desperate to get their hands on this, the Louis Vuitton Cup. Whoever claims it will have won it in style. Yesterday, Italy handed the British an easy point after a 50-knot nosedive. Shaken but not defeated, Luna Rossa struck straight back after Britannia made an unforced error in the start box. So after 8 races, it's 4-all. How much more drama will the Louis Vuitton Cup final offer? The series couldn't get any closer. Race 9 opens with Italy on port entry, Great Britain on starboard. Is this the day the deadlock is broken? And so we go to the dockouts, and Shirley Robertson, Luna Rossa, resilient.
Luna Rossa has invented resilience. From the very top down, they're a team with a huge amount of self-belief. Max Serena, through Jimmy and Keiko, the young trim team, and their powerful group of cyclers. And what we've seen so far, knockback after knockback, this team are going to be tough to beat.
So as we head into race 9, the flags are flying. Will they be flying at the end of the day? But how about the opposition, Ineos Britannia and Glenn Ashby, minimising mistakes high on the list?
Absolutely. Today, to me, is all about mistake minimisation, and big day for the British team. They'll be hoping to get off the start line clean, put pressure on their opponents and come out on top at the end of the day.
So we are in for another crazy day of sailing in the Louis Vuitton Cup. Time to check the course conditions with Shirley Robertson.
Our two challengers have been inseparable in the glamour sea breeze over the last few days, but Barcelona's test today presents a whole new puzzle. These two titans of the America's Cup will face a very unstable easterly wind, anything between 15 to 20 knots. And to add to the tension out on the racecourse, that's all coupled with a significant and messy sea state. Well, as we've seen from the vagaries of the forecast in this direction, it's a hard read for the teams. But luckily for us watching, we have a helping hand. With Windsight IQ, we have an increasingly accurate picture of the real-time wind. We'll then mix that with AC75 performance numbers, and we can predict the likely winning track. It's a changeable picture, but as the teams prepare to engage, the Ghost Boat seems to be aiming to limit the tacks, which means getting as far up the boundary as possible first time, which means a start at the right-hand end of the line. But there's only room for one boat to nail the perfect route.
Race 9, Luna Rossa, port, Ineos Britannia starboard.
Having gifted Ineos Britannia 2 wins through gear failure, Jimmy Spittle is convinced that momentum has very definitely swung the Italian team's way. As we nervously inch closer to a must-win match, the Italian unit will be hoping their reliability issues are behind them and they can now make their move. On the wheels, it's Spittle and Bruni. On trim, it's Molinari's and Tise. And on the pedals, providing all the oil they need for this high-pressure head-to-head, Voltolini, Rossetti, Gabbia and Liuzzi.
From Great Britain for the 37th America's Cup here in Barcelona is a team that has been pushed to the limits against their opponents Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in the Louis Vuitton final. Ben Ainsley again in the driver's seat on the starboard side, and behind him controlling the foil package is Bledden Mon. On the port side of the yacht is Dylan Fletcher and Lee McMillan. Powering the big sails on Britannia in this race is Matt Rossiter, Freddie Carr, Matt Gottrell and Benny Cornish.
So we close in on race 9 for both these teams, locked at 4-all. Of course, it is a must-win race. Mother Nature is loving this Louis Vuitton Cup Series as well, throwing us some magnificent sailing weather. Let's get clearance from race management to go racing.
This is the race committee. We have met the wind limit and this race is live.
Well, to add to the spice, we have a really big sea, a confused sea. It's bouncing off the land, causing all kinds of trouble. This is going to be spicy.
So just a reminder, if you're joining us now, wherever you're watching us and on what screen and what you're watching on around the world, that boat there, Luna Rossa, will have port entry. They can come in from 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Then Ineos Britannia can come in from starboard at 2 minutes. Time on distance, always critical. Well, the last couple of days, both have been coming in just a little bit late.
Looks good, yeah.
Lot of men to come here.
Taking some speed, boys.
Definitely some seaway down here, boys.
Green light for Luna Rossa. Now we wait for Ineos Britannia.
He's a little late.
Just look at the sea, it's like a washing
No
machine.
problem with the cross.
And they are quite late in for this start, Luna Rossa. Quite late indeed. So watch and wait and see how this pre-start unfolds.
Yeah, they're late on purpose, the British team. They've done that tactically. They definitely had the brakes on coming in there. So interesting pre-start, just wanting to get in close behind the Italian team. They saw that shaping up from quite a way out, and now they'll need to make some decisions on whether to jump or lead back to try and gain control in this pre-start.
All the cyclers hard at it, so difficult in the pre-start.
Very easy to vent the foils in these conditions. Shirley, really tricky, and we've seen some big slides over the last couple of days. Ineos Britannia having to give way as
We're faster.
Luna Rossa on starboard.
Not on lane line yet.
Both boats in the bottom right-hand corner of the box.
Happy with this.
Nice job by the Italians there, just forcing the British low, getting some gauge, which is what they need.
A little bit of speed. He's brought up.
Luna Rossa pushing, trying to get over the top.
Fantastic engagement there.
Right, okay? Happy with a double trim.
Possibly see a split tack start.
Luna Rossa early, time to kill here.
A little early, yeah? Okay, we're good. Heading away.
Turn the on the mark. Down here now. Closer. Go.
Nice.
A smooth to ankle.
Race 9, Louis Vuitton Cup. The battle of the heavyweights continues. Split tag start.
A clean start, closest to the line, Ineos Britannia 8 metres back, doing 35 knots.
They had no wriggle room. The British team executing their time on distance absolutely perfectly. Need to get the Ineos Britannia locked in. That was a bad tack. Lost a lot of speed in that tack, down to 27 knots. So
we're going to see this, aren't we? So hard to execute those manoeuvres in this sea state, particularly at the bottom half of the track.
The right-of-way boat now, the Italian team of Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. The British having to decide what to do here. Most likely a duck.
He will have to go behind us, I think. We cannot defend.
It's charging.
A little bow down.
Careful bow down here.
No, a little bow down.
My wheel here.
Okay, good. Keep the speed.
Okay, and your wheel now.
Ben Ainsley taking the wheel. Got the best view of Luna Rossa.
Hey, lock her in here, guys.
Maybe sacrifice a bit of pitch here.
Nice.
Better.
Nothing in the performance of these two yachts. Very, very evenly matched. Upwind.
We need a little bit more speed the next time.
Here.
Intersection. More speed the next time.
60 knots. Closing speed, both boats about 40 knots. So really coming at each other quickly. Ineos Britannia now having to execute well, which they do. That's a nice tack in those conditions. Very bumpy, easy to spin out. Need to lock it in. And now the giveaway yacht will be the Italians. So a great battle.
Now, no more numbers.
Difficult conditions for the foil trimmers to gauge how much ride height to use. Little gains there to the British.
Likely duck for us,
Big seaway, very, very close to losing the rudder there.
My wheel, pick up slightly down. They've got us ducking.
Luna Rossa going for the duck.
Put the bow down as well, the British. Big push now for the Cyclaws to trim those big sails back
in
on.
here, boys. A very even top gate.
Big seaway running. It's slightly flatter at the top of the course than what it was at the start, but it's still really bumpy, and the frequency is only 3 seconds between the waves. But both boats are bow to bow. The next cross as they come in to this top mark approach. Remember, who's ahead at the top mark often wins these races at this level.
2, 1, or down.
Both teams trying to execute this top part of the course well, and they'll be hoping to have a slight advantage as they enter this first part of the downwind. Right-of-way boat, the Italians.
You are not touching the zone. You are not touching the zone.
As we head to the top gate, there is nothing between these two in race 9 of the Louis Vuitton Cup.
2, 1, mate. Turning. All the way around.
They will split the
Looking down here.
mark rounding. Nothing between them after one leg of 8.
Massive twist there on the mainsail of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Big push to get that back on. They are down speed at the moment relative to the British, 42 knots versus 46. Tough bear away for both teams there. Very difficult to execute that manoeuvre well.
Wow, this is big now. This next cross on the downwind, crucial. Picking your time for the jibe is so important. With this shot, you cannot afford to lose grip in the jibe as Luna Rossa now go into their jibe, come across on starboard for this downwind cross.
British have just sailed into a beautiful puff down that far side. Absolutely ripping there. The fastest jibe by Luna Rossa, just losing a little bit of ground at that top mark, which is cost them. British there should be clear ahead.
Over the net.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the length to 1.8 nautical miles.
Stalled hand, slow.
There's pressure.
This sea state just making the boats a little slower than they would be if they're in flat water.
The one and in here.
Great.
accuracy and manoeuvre is so important.
It's good lefty at the moment.
The whole new challenge today to pull it off.
Not great, but
yes, it's a huge day for the foil trimmers today. Really, really difficult
good lefty, 63.
to manage your ride height and your foil immersion. You see the air bombs with that extra weight sticking out the front of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They'll be trying to keep that out of the water because that is all drag as it goes through the water, so very, very difficult.
Straight.
Nice.
Yeah, we have to go all the way here. And by.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Nice drive by the British there. Potentially these rougher conditions suiting their foil arms and their upstands a little better possibly than Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Yep, no problem. Copy. Good pressure here. I think we're one early tack bend out of the Lewis. Yep. Copy 2 here. 2 border. Yep. 100%.
It has been a solid first downward leg by Ineos Britannia. They've got a good lead right now on Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in race 9 of the Louis Vuitton Cup, but it's just a challenge to muscle these big 7-ton flying 75s and the sea state that we are experiencing, or they are experiencing today.
Coming up.
It's a big lead.
Luna Rossa.
Big lead, Stephen, absolutely. Early on in this race, that was probably the biggest gain on a downwind leg that we've seen. These two boats against each other. That top mark rounding, the slow jibe.
Looks good breeze in front.
Luna Rossa slightly on the back
Fast
foot.
here, boys. Now higher.
I tell you what, the crowds are probably just as anxious as everybody else is, but they're unafraid to fly their flags and show who they are representing today here in Barcelona.
Time getting through the turn. Nice recovery.
See how difficult that is. The voice of Jimmy Spithill just saying how hard the boat is to turn. Very, very skinny, highly loaded rudders.
All right in this.
Yeah.
Right on the edge of grip with both front foils and the rudder, so threading the eye of the needle, both boats.
This is average, 69, 70. All good.
Have we seen any gains before?
No, really not. The breeze is shifting like 5 degrees left and right.
Francesco Bruni there.
This is a small lefty, but I would still go straight here.
Great.
Take the leverage.
Wait here.
Running landboard.
Yeah, not over here.
The light spot here. Failed. Having to go main. Nice wheel now.
Just watching the foil arms piercing the wave tops here.
In a righty here.
800 millimetres to a metre of change in vertical height from trough bottom to wave top peak. So you see a lot of immersion there on the big yellow section on board Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli at times, and that is all a lot of drag and really difficult job there for Roberto Molinari and Andrea Tessi to keep the boat flying.
Hey, pretty similar. Little gain to him maybe.
See the ride height there being pushed really hard.
A bit bound up at times with the small jib.
Oh.
It's taking there.
I think we're going to go.
And by.
Oh.
3, 2, 1, more down.
So the wing wash there, Shirley.
Nice tack, boys.
Yeah,
Really
Luna
nice.
Rossa tacking away. No choice. They've got to clear their air.
I'd be surprised to see the British tack back again soon and try and make them hurt.
If he doesn't tack,
Up
we
the
go
top, they
straight.
might actually take it. One and in, potentially.
Having to go to ley line here.
See there, the Ineos just carrying a little bit more heel angle because of the sea state, just to make the boat a little bit more forgiving. We heard them pre-race talking about, both boats talking about increase the heel angle setting as Ineos now tack, but it's still a big seaway running, and if you just get a rudder ventilation will be could be a defining factor.
Ineos Britannia is about to complete leg number 3 of race number 9, but already there's a sense they are feeling good about controlling this race. But there's still a long way to go. That's leg 3 completed for them. There's still 5 to go, and in comes Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli as Ineos Britannia round that top gate and head down for leg number 4. Remember, one little mistake and everything changes.
50 will not bear away in these conditions.
All good. All good.
Big wave there for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. The British getting absolutely fired out of the cannon. Afterburners are engaged. They are off to the races.
Guys, just try and smooth it down here.
Oh, you get a real appreciation for the sea state from that shot. They've got plenty on.
The super short waves get really difficult to lock the boat in. You won't see as high boat speeds on average in these bumpy water conditions, so the foil's picking up a lot of drag, a lot of extra wetted surface area, and ultimately slowing the boats down. They're still not tied to the dock by any means, doing 44 knots in these sea conditions, but Ineos Britannia doing a nice job just to control this race. Italians not far out of the boat.
At the moment. I'm pretty locked in, Ben, so I'm not happy. Good here. Pressure looks good here and ship looks okay.
So hard to keep that clearance under the
They're
boat
just not slower than
accurate.
this.
Same as
These
before,
conditions.
probably one and in
Did
for
an
both.
amazing job.
Both these teams very well practiced,
Okay, can't get to ley line this way. I think we just do that.
showing how it should be done.
Yeah. About 6 seconds here. A bit further.
Both boats one more manoeuvre before the final bottom sector at the bottom gate.
No worries.
High pressure manoeuvres.
Pushed by the cycler team.
Putting a second wave here. That's negative here. Okay, got it. One, going forward.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening to 1.75 nautical miles.
Anyway.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli have made a bit of a gain in the bottom half of this diamond leg.
Certainly have. They'll be accelerating up to speed. Another 4 or 5 knots of speed to build. They've definitely reeled the British team in. So Ben saying 1 and in left, so they will do another manoeuvre to take that gate off the Italians to control the race.
Both these teams are sailing on the edge in a rough sea state. And right now it's Ineos Britannia still with a slight lead. They take it nice and easy around there. Both boards down just to make sure. Look at that, it's almost even again. Gave away just a little bit of speed and in came Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. We are halfway through race 9.
And why push, boys?
Oh, look at those waves, massive punch through.
Oh!
The rudder.
Hey, try and build.
Oh, that's a big speed loss for the Italian team. We saw that big wave,
Okay, tell about the tank
just
now.
aerating the rudder.
Hey, trying to build.
Up with mode.
Yeah, we have speed. We have speed.
And that's a huge deficit to make up now.
3, 2, 1. Up and down. And turning.
Nice cool heads on board the Italian boat. Very difficult conditions. British take a big advantage now, Shirley, as they head off that right-hand boundary.
They lost 100 metres in that little spill.
Guys, obviously the boat is a
Having a
bit
look at the
broachy with
ghost
the small
boat
jib.
here.
Oh,
As Ineos Britannia well ahead.
So you're cool.
that's what happened to you as well, right, Jimmy?
Anytime. Okay, stand by.
Time to go on the coach boat for Ineos Britannia. Rob Wilson joins us right now. Well, they're sailing on the edge in some crazy conditions, Rob, but they're strong so far.
Yeah, so far it's so difficult out here. It's right on edge. So you know the teams are just nursing around.
Rob, there's lots of comms on both boats about balance of the boat and the trim of the boat. Just give us an understanding of how tricky these waves are.
It just puts the rudder right on edge, so if you go too trav up or you just haven't got the loading in the sail plan right, your balance just goes totally out of whack and they lose the rudder, and that's what happened with it looked like that was what happened with the Italians.
Appreciate those thoughts, but I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Rossa, part of Crowley potentially on a slightly smaller jib than the British team, so that will load the back of the boat a little more as we watch Ineos Britannia. That tiny little rudder having to do all the grip at the back of the boat to turn and then straighten the boat up. Centre of effort, the power source, that sail plan needing to be balanced between the front and the back of the foils. It's only around about 180 millimetres or so.
We go all the way to
You see it moving fore and aft there as well as steering, so that's actually controlling the fore-aft pitch of the boat, controlled by the foil trimmers to keep that boat locked in. Having to do a lot of work, those little elevators working hard.
How's the rudder? Just okay. I think it's going to be up a better.
Ineos now coming up on starboard, looking a whole bunch more comfortable than they did with that mistake at the bottom mark. That foil ventilation of Luna Rossa. Mark rounding coming up for Ineos, and they'll be really conscious just to get round this top mark and get the flying Ineos pointed in the right direction for the downwind.
Anytime. Okay, 4 down. 2, 1, made. Panic. I will. 2, 1, come on. Quite a bit over this, I think.
Ineos Britannia in a strong position as we are about to complete leg number 5 of 8 in race 9. But as we have seen, one little mistake and everything can change. Look how rough that sea is today. All the crews really pushing it.
Stuck windward heel, coming into that mark. The British team, but still stuck windward heel. They need to get the boat locked in there, British team, otherwise they will vent the foil.
Rossa, they're around. They've done 5 legs, 3 to do. What can they do? Or are they just waiting for Ineos to make a mistake themselves?
Keep it tight, keep it clean. Something always seems to happen.
British team sailing into a huge puff down that left-hand boundary, looking downwind.
Crowd themselves wondering what might happen. Boy, it feels like we're back here yesterday. Ineos Britannia on course potentially to win race 1. Then what happens in race 2? Marco Guardoni in the crowd.
I think he's in a ride. He looks like ridey coming. No, definitely ridey.
I'm sure Marco Guardoni's thinking maybe next time around in America's Cup that'll be me on the helm. Who knows? Who knows?
Biggest ridey we've seen here. Copy that.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening to 1.65 nautical miles.
Good pressure here.
0.2 nautical miles shortening, or a bit over a couple hundred metres short of there. So these boats just struggling to get through the seaway, not sailing as fast, even though the wind conditions up. The seaway just making it so difficult to get up to speed. Only one mistake away, the British, from handing the lead over, needing to sail the boat really cleanly there as we're watching the foils ripping through the wave tops here. These little spray deflectors stopping the wrap around up the shaft and all that extra drag. Both teams opting for very, very different foil packages, particularly on the lower arms. So who's design and who can sail best be the key.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the course axis to 072.
Wait on this, I need some power.
Going close.
Must have this mark, yeah? Can always go to the other mark if it's not on. Don't worry.
They're really having to dance their way through the
Go right
waves.
if you want. It's up to you. We'll get there. Oh, cool.
Ineos Britannia, they are dancing, but their tune might be a good one at the end of the day. They're about to complete the 6th leg of 8. All these teams right on the edge.
Little soak there for the British team to get around that bottom gate, so swashing off a little bit of speed. Italians coming in at full pace, so little gains back to the Italians.
Rossa Parada really gets around the gate. They've done 6.2 to go, 18 seconds the delta.
Come on, let's push, boys, let's push.
Get rid of it, guys, on Carr.
It is coming, no lower than this.
Just waiting for Trev.
The accumulator is decent.
Hey, all the way, boys.
Onto Luna Rossa's chase boat with Philippe Presti and Philippe. Chase boat, but Luna Rossa chasing today. How do you get out of this one?
Well, great start, I thought, and it sounds like we're running a little difference in itself, and that seems like the boys are struggling to get the boat going. We were expecting a little bit more breeze. Unfortunately, we didn't get, but they're still in the match. They're fighting hard, but the boat is not easy today.
Yeah, Philippe, just that smaller jib package, just loading that little rudder up a little more. Difficult on these in this seaway.
Yeah, exactly. We're missing 1 or 2 knots to make it work. But anyway, sometimes you make choice, and sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. But yeah, they're very pleased to see the boys fighting, and we're not that far, and anything can happen still.
Yeah, I love the attitude, Fleet. Appreciate the time.
Take all the leverage we get here.
Put them all together.
Hey, go to this path and tack. I think any time.
Okay, stand by. 3, 2, 1, water down.
Ineos coming up win for the last time, and now they're just, got that margin of 18 seconds at the bottom mark, so that's over 18 boat lengths in the lead. That means they can just be a little bit more conservative with their maneuvers and pick the wave formation so that they can pull off their jibes and their attacks in the flat spot. And that just lessens the risk of doing a bad tack or getting cavitation.
Nice mode now.
Looks like it's going to lay.
That's good. Nice mode, Dylan.
10 seconds here. Yeah. Bit of a righty. Yeah, okay. Give it a bit. Yeah. And stand by. Yeah. Put down.
3, 2, 1, mate.
Standing. Okay, right. 2, 1, going forward.
Some big seaway there to punch through on the exit of those tacks. Nice catch.
Go tight on this, but all good. I think we'll be okay.
On lay line for left turn. The Italians having one more tack to do.
Right turn, I think we go early jibe out this bend. Yeah, copy. Trying to harvest a bit here.
Just putting a little bit in the bank, just taking a little bit of height while they can early, the British, but small gains back to the Italian team.
Good angle.
Absolute full pressure bear away, Shirley, for both teams.
Ineos Britannia coming in to complete leg number 7. Watch the bear away, then it's the run home.
100, hit it, boys. Nice. On it, going. Anytime, Edmund.
And the Rossa Parada, really, they just have been hanging on, but just can't find it.
Start catching, boys.
5-second gain back to the Italian team there. Just using that windward foil.
Big push,
third leg. Just to stabilise the boat there, to stop it rolling windward heel, while the Cyclaws grind that big twin skin mainsail back on. They will have more main sheet load with that smaller jib than the British, so the British slightly less main sheet load to get back on, exiting those bearaways.
Hey, 15. Get through this wave.
Stand by. 2, 1, Vorta.
No.
Great audio of the foils going up and down that cant system. FCS working hard in these bumpy conditions.
Hey, try and lock her in here. Up a touch. Back wave coming.
Not only the system's working hard, the crew on board as well.
35 this way. Big wave coming here, blends. Copy. On. Yes.
Emirates Britannia have done a great job here. It has been clinical.
The liner looks like maybe better pressure coming on you.
Fantastic execution.
Yeah, copy.
Not a wobble in this really difficult condition.
And to ley line, but give it a bit. Yeah.
That Rossiter and Freddie Carr pushing hard.
Looking for a flat spot as well.
Port side, McNottrell being Cornish.
Okay, stand by.
The two drivers, Ben Ainsley, Dylan Fletcher,
3, 2, 1, mate.
swapping.
Fine.
Last jibe of the race for the British if they pull this off.
When you talk about responding to pressure and what's required to give yourself another little psychological edge in conditions like this today, Ineos Britannia have absolutely come to the party and said, you know what, this game is not over and we'll take it to you. It's been a replication of the last 3 days. Ineos Britannia win the first race of the day. What happens next, who knows? But now they are only 2 race wins away from heading to the match. Britannia wins.
And it goes down here and then we'll turn up. Okay. We might want to be a bit higher, Ben, if we can. Okay, gonna turn up next, blades? Okay, give it 2 seconds, going close, boys.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be happy if that's the Ineos Britannia compound? And if you're a Luna Rossa fan, well, guess what? Here we go again. Coming in from behind is what's going to be required to level it up on day 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. Who would have believed this?
Just slightly underpowered, possibly on that small jib. The breeze just not kicking as much
If we can sail upwind a bit,
as possibly what they thought, and that boat would have been really, really difficult to sail, being slightly out of balance.
Maybe we take the top. Doesn't matter really.
Happy days on the coach boat, and why wouldn't they be? They've mastered the conditions in this first race of the day.
Yeah.
Confirmation now, race 9 of the Louis Vuitton Cup here in Barcelona with a large sea state, and the job is done by Ineos Britannia. The win by 23 seconds over Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. So we go to that critical standings board, and it's one more green dot for Ineos Britannia. It's now 5-4. Remember, first to 7, and you're off to the big show.
Well, there was a bit of push and shove, wasn't there, in the pre-start? Both teams early back to the start line. But actually very well controlled by Luna Rossa. And a really even split start. Both yachts off. We're so close up to that beat. A great shot there, simultaneously bearing away at the top gate. It was on.
Still absolutely nothing in the race at this point. But as Luna Rossa was building to head upwind, they just punched through a couple of big waves there, vented the rudder, and that big windward heel touchdown, washing off a huge amount of pace, allowing the British to slide away into a comfortable lead.
A commanding position for Ineos Britannia from there. Sailed smart and cleanly, defended well. And at the finish, it was Ineos Britannia extended that lead to take the win. 5-4 to Great Britain.
On board Ineos Britannia now, we'll start with our chat with Ben Ainsley. And Ben, with the sea state as it was today, how much more concentration had there to be to keep it clean?
Yeah, we're on a knife edge today with the waves rather than yesterday with the wind speed. You know, to be honest, it's you're pretty fully focused either way. But yeah, it's a knife edge keeping these foiling boats. Yeah, they're delicately, finely tuned and cutting through the wave tops and not falling off the foil. So real challenge for all the teams.
Ben, how are you going to break this deadlock?
Well, if we win the next race, it would help, wouldn't it? So yeah, we guys did a great job there. Felt like we managed the really difficult conditions pretty well. I mean, there's still plenty of gains to make, and if we can have another solid race like that, it'd be great.
Yeah, nice work, Ben. A quick chat with Dylan on the other side of the ship. I mean, Dylan, we've talked about how you cannot afford to make one mistake. I mean, how tense is it on board, especially in conditions like this?
Yeah, as Ben said, you know, although it's not top-end wind speed, the waves make these boats very difficult to sail, and yeah, we're on the edge most of the time.
How important is it now to follow up in this next race? What would that mean?
Yeah, I guess every race has been that important, but yeah, we're certainly fired up for the next one, and looking forward to it.
Thanks, Dylan. As always, appreciate the time after the race. Let's go on board. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, Francesco Bruni joins us right now. Oh, feels like Groundhog Day again. Keko, got to go, come from behind again.
Yeah. Well, this time was really a nice race. We are just struggling a little bit with the jib, but I mean, the Ineos sailed a good race, and we made a little mistake at that bottom mark, losing grip on the rudder, and yeah, I mean, we are ready for the next one. We have been through this, and yeah, it feels like every day is the same day.
How close to the edge of grip are you, Keko, with the rudder when you're sailing around the course? Just for the viewers, you look like you're sliding it around. Must be loose at times.
Yeah, it's very loose because of the sea state. Obviously, that's the main reason. Obviously, the rudder immersion has a variation of like half a meter. Depending if you're on top or on the bottom of the wave. So that's the first struggling there. And yeah, we were not set up well, and that was making it even worse.
Keko, we talked at the beginning of the show about the resilience of this team. This race now feels very important. You know, what can you do here?
Every race is important. We can just, but we know how strong we are, and honestly, I don't feel any pressure. And yeah, I have solid trust on anyone on the team. So honestly, I don't feel any pressure at all.
Time for another bounce back. We'll talk to you after race number 10.
Well, from the start, both teams looked very evenly matched, but it was this manoeuvre, the first Italian jibe of the race, that made the difference. With these waves, there was always a risk of losing ground in the corner, and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli had to work that turn a little harder to keep control, and that cost them the meters and gave Ineos Britannia the lead.
Look at some of the data here. Impressive to see both boats over 50 knots in the rough seas today. Clearly no one holding back there. What has been close over the last 8 races is even closer for race 9. The Italians better average speed by 0.1 of a knot, but GBR taking the win with less distance sailed by a smooth 600 metres. However, no room for complacency for the Ineos team. Everyone going to be pushing hard to get this next race win.
If you are a Britannia fan right now, the nerves and butterflies will be increasing. No team in the last 4 days has actually got 2 race wins on the day, and 2 on today will be absolutely massive. But this is the America's Cup, and we'll just leave that one alone right now. So we're in between races 9 and 10, and the one thing that even Francesco Bruni said, Glenn, setup. Did they make a mistake?
Yeah, look, I think the ultimate deciding factor there in the balance of the boat, as Philippe said also, was, you know, their jib selection. The breeze just not kicking in quite as much as what they thought it would be. They opted for a slightly smaller jib. The balance of the boat a little bit out of whack there, and the British doing a slightly better job being in range with their sail selection.
This next race is massive. I know we say that for every race, but if Ineos Britannia get the win, we are match point. It is a big deal. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli have to stop the momentum.
So they'll be thinking about what and how they approach race number 10. And again, and they are pushing themselves against a wall here, the Italians. Again, they have to try and come from behind. I mean, they're not helping themselves, are they?
Look, it's one of those sort of tennis grudge matches, isn't it? You know, standing back behind, just belting the ball at each other, and the Italians will be absolutely hoping to get back in the game.
So we wait with anticipation for race number 10 in the Louis Vuitton Cup. Can one team, for the first time, win 2 in a row? This is all about winning the Louis Vuitton Cup. We keep saying it, and then you get the right to take on Emirates Team New Zealand. Well, at this point in time, the Italians and the British appear to be evenly matched, but the Italian design team are confident that the silver bullet will leave the opposition in its wake and deliver sailing's ultimate prize.
So these AC-75 boats are just at the edge of technology, but I mean, they are at the edge of technology in any sense, not only the sailing world.
Being able to have done a cup before, it's quite important, not only from the feeling, how you sail a boat like this, how it behaves a boat like this, but also developing your tools from the design point of view. It's quite important as well. I think for a team that it's seeking to win this AC-37 is quite an advantage. The lessons that we can take from the last AC-36, you know, I think there are quite a bit. It was a first generation of this kind of yacht, quite a complex boat. So we saw quite different approaches there between Team New Zealand, the other teams, Luna Rossa itself. So I think we learned quite a lot from there, and we can expect the boats to be closer in that sense in design. Having the Cup in Barcelona from the design point of view is quite an important factor. No? I mean, we have long waves, and we can expect heights of maybe close to 2 meters, so it's quite a big for this kind of boats. I mean, foiling boats, they don't like too much wavy conditions. Well, the difference in the class rule for this AC-37 now has been quite a bit, the changes now, especially in what is related to light wind performance. So it's a reduction in weight, so the boat has a displacement of about a ton less than what it was before. The wing foils itself, you know, they have been also changed. The rule limits have been increased in span by 10%, so it was 4 meters in width, and now it's 4.5 meters. And also the draft, you know, the draft of the foils, it has been increased by 250 millimeters. And another important thing is the crew itself. The crew was 11 crew members, and now you're allowed to have only 8 is the maximum, from which also the power source of these crew members has been allowed to be cycling. You know? So we're gonna see quite a different boat out there.
I'm working on a team
in which there are not common people. Everything is in a high level, in a high performance. And all the people that are working here are focused on what they are doing as a lifestyle, basically.
We have incredible guys all over the team that are capable of taking informed decisions without having all the information. So there's a partially observable space, basically.
You experiment, you even fail. I mean, you can try something and spend time and effort trying something that at the end is useful. But the biggest thing is that you have one chance. After that one chance, you have finished. It's that you will use it into the cup, so it's a huge responsibility in a kind of way.
I think the most important thing to have a winning boat, it's further interaction within the design team, the sailing team, your building team, and be able to together produce something that, let's call it flawless, something that in every area you are close to 100%. From the naval architecture point of view, from the sail designs, from the structure of the boat, to the mechatronics in this complex boat, everything has to be close to 100%.
It's gigantic. I mean, when I came here, I didn't really know exactly how big it could be, but there are a million pieces to put together. And any piece that you put in this project during the years, and are many years, will count, but you will only, see the results after 4 years.
Being able, having be here in an America's Cup team and be able to challenge yourself, not only as a designer, as a human being, relating yourself with the whole team, and winning is probably one of the most important things that you can expect as a professional in their career.
Someone once told me that once the boat comes out of the shed, you've either built a winning boat or a boat that's not going to win. But what we're seeing here between these two is, who knows?
Well, two really different design packages, on the water, but both design packages achieving very, very similar performances, and it's really down to sail selection, how you balance the boat, how you set it up. Surely it's, and how you actually get it around the racetrack is really most important.
It's quite amazing, isn't it? I mean, just look at them. They look, chalk and cheese, they are so different. Ineos Britannia, great big powerful fuselage hull. Foils are really different, but yet they are generally inseparable. It is a mistake that separates these two great teams.
The tuning of the engines, which is really the sail plan, choosing your usage of the fuel, which is the wind, by using a slightly smaller jib or a slightly bigger jib relative to the mainsail that you choose, really dictates the balance of the boat. And in these bumpy conditions, really, really important to get the balance right. And as Philippe Presti said and Keko before, possibly just a small mistake there using the smaller jib, and the boat got put out of balance and possibly suffered a little performance loss.
But at this stage of the game, that small mistake has an absolute monster consequence. That consequence has put them on the back foot again, and now Ineos Britannia they're obviously going to both change their jibs, have a look at what the conditions are like. If Ineos Britannia can get the win here, I think we know what that's going to do to this competition. It's going to put it right on the knife edge, and one team is going to be ruining that one mistake. So we wait again as we head towards race 10. As we look at Ineos Britannia, let's think about their cyclors. David Freddie Carr is one of the most experienced campaigners. The cycler has basically spent half his life pursuing an America's Cup victory, and he's determined to save his success and take the old mug back to Britain.
This is now my 6th campaign, America's Cup campaign, and I've been doing it for 23 years. My first experience of the America's Cup was the America's Cup Jubilee, the 150th regatta in Cowes in 2001, where I sailed a GBR Challenge. And my life has been defined by America's Cup cycles ever since then. I remember the day that the protocol dropped for this cycle and the change from grinding with your arms to cycling with your legs, and grinding had been my bread and butter for 2 decades up to that point. So I had to have a pretty long stop and think about whether I could transition into a cyclist, particularly at the age of 40. And I still had the fire. I gave myself 3 months, and I had a pretty good 3 months and proved to myself I could do it. And then obviously you had to get sign-off from the family. They were behind me all the way, and from that point, it's an absolute no-brainer that I was going to come back for the 6th. I've had a great run in this amazing sport, but I haven't achieved what I want to achieve. I want to win the America's Cup for Great Britain. That's what got me coming back. Like, I have not achieved what, as an 18-year-old, I set out to be my goal, to win the America's Cup. And over time, the real focus actually has been to win the America's Cup for my country, not for personal reasons. And that is the thing every day that I wake up and I want to do. And that's why I keep coming back. I'm an emotional guy. I don't hide it very well. I'd be rubbish at poker. And after the first day of the round robins in Auckland, we've been written off by the sailing world. And do you know what? You can see why.
We're struggling down the range, particularly. Clearly, you'll make some changes.
We were down and out, and to come together as a unit of 150 people down in Auckland to get that boat competitive was a really special thing to be a part of. And we started to believe that we could do something really good.
Nice work, gents.
Pretty good work, guys. Oh, come on. Amazing hustle.
I don't think any of us thought we'd go unbeaten through that round robin, but to go out and put that marker down on the first day and beat our 2 challengers was unbelievable.
Nice. That's there.
I can't recall a moment in my life that I've considered myself to think about my mental health a bit, to be honest. And after Auckland, I had to sort of check in with myself. I was pretty broken after that.
For only the 2nd time in their history, Luna Rossa will make the match and be the official challenger for the America's Cup and take on Emirates Team New Zealand.
Sorry, guys. Not going to happen.
To fall from that level of excitement and anticipation to lose to Prada like we did in the Challenger Series final eventually wiped me out. And it took me, I reckon, a year to get over that. But that's what the Cup does to you. It absolutely chews you up and spits you out. The America's Cup is my life. And I think I probably embody everything around, I might be talking myself up a bit here, but I see myself as like a really rounded British sailor. So I think I represent that on this base because I've seen so much of that world over the last 30 years, to be honest. And I'm very aware of that when I walk on here. I am representing the Solent Warrior a little bit. That can get lost a bit in this Formula One foiling world, but ultimately I think I do step in here and represent a really wide spectrum of British sailors, and I'm very proud of that.
Freddie Carr exemplifying one word, passion, and what it means if they can win the America's Cup. And Ineos Britannia are closing in fast, as is race 10, under 15 minutes to go. So what are Luna Rossa going to throw back at them? They were bruised yesterday. Not bruised today, just made a mistake. Glenn, Shirley, what do they do?
Well, if any team can pull back a win, it is this team, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They've done it against the odds day after day. They need to park that loss and go forward with a clean slate. It's hard to do, isn't it, in these high-pressure scenarios, but they seem to be masters at it.
Just some full fever there on the deck of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, you know, deciding which jib to go with. The weather calls will be coming in thick and fast for both teams, so the British deciding and the Italians coming up now.
All right, the one thing that happened yesterday was you can't make a mistake in the start box. In the race 2 yesterday, and Ineos said, this is today.
Yeah, I was surprised to see this kind of engagement in these conditions. And yes, Britannia just giving them a little nudge, a little push, but actually Luna Rossa did well. They reacted quickly. The overlap was broken.
Really, really tight engagement in these bumpy water conditions, and you just see how close the bow of the British boat was to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, and in the end, as we possibly thought, a split tack start, and both boats getting off the line nice and cleanly.
So the start is going to be critical once again. A little over 13 minutes or so to go before we are into that start box mode, and if you think the tension is going to be palpable, oh, you can bet it certainly is going to be, not just here but around the fan zones and inside those cockpits of both boats. So we've been talking about cyclors, and Luca Kerwin is a power athlete with a sporting pedigree. The elite rower represented New Zealand at the 22 World Champs, then made the switch to sailing after successfully trialling for Luna Rossa. His passion for sporting success initially driven by an inspiring father figure.
So Dad is John Kerwin. He's an ex-All Black and ex-Italian coach. In his off seasons for the All Blacks, he went and played Benetton in Treviso, and that's where he met my mum. And they fell in love and sort of always had this passion for Italy. And so when he finished up his career in New Zealand and Japan, he started the coaching role with the Italian national side. And I think that was in 1999, that's when I was born. So he was the youngest All Black at the time, so he was 18 when he first made the team, won the first Rugby World Cup, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I suppose I grew up watching his highlights on YouTube, and yeah, so I'm pretty proud of, you know, to be able to call him my dad. Yeah, I grew up playing rugby in Treviso, where I grew up. Mum's from there. Played for a club called Treviso, and when I went back to New Zealand when I was about 12, I carried that on. So I played for Sacred Heart College in Auckland, and up until I was about 16, I started rowing to get fit and get ready for the rugby season, and just fell in love with the sport. And so I just sort of took the rowing path, and I really wanted to, at the time, represent New Zealand and sort of follow in Dad's footsteps, but down another sport. And so I really gave it a good crack, and ended up making the under-23 team that competed at World Champs in Sarasota. And we came fourth there, pretty close to the Italians coming in second. So there's a bit of competition there. And then after that, there was obviously a couple of rough years with COVID. So in 2021, obviously there was the America's Cup in Auckland, and that's when I really, that passion sort of grew, and I sort of got together with all the Italians and started supporting Luna Rossa. And you know, one of my fondest memories is seeing the boat came back into the port after winning the Prada Cup, and sort of, you know, standing out, and just thought it was an amazing atmosphere. There's a big community of Italians in Auckland, and so we'd often just get together and meet, and you'd meet parts of the crew and members of the team. And Max, he invited my father in for a training, and sort of, yeah, there was just this whole connection with the Italian team, which really stuck out to me, and I thought it was just amazing. And this idea of the America's Cup just grew more and more in my head, and so in end of 2022, after rowing world champs, I decided to take on cycling and give this a crack, and yeah, now I'm here.
Put pressure on exit. On and all clear.
My sailing experience is very small. You know, I grew up with Dad. He loves surfing and loved being out in the water, which is, you know, amazing. So I'm pretty used to being out in the ocean and doing that sort of thing, but sailing's just never been in our family. So yeah, my first time on a sailing boat was actually on the LEQ-12, the prototype. Actually, I got a funny story. Kiko, when I came on to the team, he thought I was a sailor from New Zealand that went into cycling, and so we ended up touching down, and I had to counterweight, and he looks across the boat. He goes, "Luca, get over here, hurry up." And I'm going, what is going on? Like, the boat's about to tip. And then they go, "Get up and run to the other side." I'm like, okay. So I just jump up, like almost slip out of the water, and just, yeah, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, it was just amazing. Just when you catch those, you get onto those foils, it just feels like you're floating, and you know, there's no wake that upsets you. You're just sort of floating above the water, so it's just pretty cool.
Clear.
Yeah, look, there's always been a pretty special connection between the two countries. You know, I remember one of the tries that my dad scored that everyone remembers was actually against Italy. So it's always been a pretty big, you know, sporting rivalry, and especially in sailing. So for me, it would just mean the world, you know, like I feel part of both countries, and it's actually, it would be the best outcome to go against Team New Zealand in the final and actually win it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I can go back to New Zealand after that, but that would just be amazing, yeah.
Nice ride, the biggest ride of the day, 200.
The build-up continues to a pivotal race 10 in the Louis Vuitton Cup. At the moment, advantage Ineos Britannia.
Well, let's just check in with the breeze and the course. I'd say in general it's slightly less, it's softening a little bit. We still have that massive confused sea state that we had before.
Just another good setup for sailing. And we cannot wait for this one. There is a building tension like you wouldn't believe. Let's go into the water. Peter Lester, what's going on with the jibs? That's the big call.
What I'm hearing on jibs is that Luna Rossa have actually gone with a one size up. They've gone to a 4, so they've taken that on board, that the small jib in race 1 was too small. But it's really bumpy out. We're having a pretty exciting time in Chase Zero. It's certainly hold on to your seatbelts. But the other thing that's happening, the wind strength is about 15 to 17 knots. It's a little bit lighter at the bottom of the course. And the wind is actually going to the right at about 5 degrees an hour. But in the last quarter of an hour, it seems to have sped up. So it wouldn't surprise me whether the teams might actually punch out to the right-hand side if they think that wind is going to go, you know, even do a big 10-degree wind shift to the right. Watch out for that.
Well, we just got the ghost boat up on the screen. You could see it starting at the right-hand side of the line, but not going all the way to the boundary, because I think the course is actually quite short and they don't need to. And as Pete said, liking the right-hand side of the track at the very top.
Oh, how good is it get? Both flags are flying, the Il Tricolore and the Union Jack. Race 10, Britannia Port, Luna Rossa starboard.
That earlier victory for Ben Ainsley's British team again puts advantage their way. This time they need to hold their nerve, keep that momentum and keep the pressure on. Behind Ainsley on trim, the ever-calm Bledin Mon. And on the port side of the boat, Dylan Fletcher on the wheel and Lee McMillan on trim. And sitting between pilot and trim is the Ineos Britannia power team. The pairings of Leask and Hunter and Parkinson and Todd Hunter.
The Italian team of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli are now 1 point behind opponents Ineos Britannia after race number 8 in epic conditions. They've been pushed to breaking point in the pre-starts and during racing. With well-known faces on the wheels again, Bruni and Spithill sitting in front of them on foil control, Molinari and Tessé. The power to control the sail package been provided again by Voltolini, Rossetti, Simeon and Luca Kerwin.
So here we go again. Race number 10 in the Louis Vuitton Cup. Wherever you are watching this, it's 5-4 in favour of Ineos Britannia. You only need 7 race wins to earn the right to lift the Louis Vuitton Cup up and head to the match on October 12 against Emirates Team New Zealand. And we are counting down for clearance for a start from race management. How could you not love this?
Really, really difficult conditions, and possibly the sea state even getting more confused over the day. That sea state coming in and then bouncing back off the shore, so you're getting some reverse waves and some double ups and even triple ups at times. So very, very difficult conditions for these boats to sail in.
Yeah, particularly at the bottom part of that track in the start box when you need accuracy so much.
So we will get the call from race management in 10 seconds to say we are going racing. Pivotal race in this whole Louis Vuitton Cup.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete and this race is live.
So it's on. No mistakes can be made. How the start unfolds will be a biggie today. There you see the score. Great Britain 5, Italy 4.
Both Ben Ainsley and Jimmy Spithill know how to deliver when they need to. This really is the match of the giants in our sport.
Might come down here. Backing down now. Down.
Great Britain coming in on port. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They can enter. They're about bang on time if you look at the indicator by the flag.
Be careful not to be early there. The British only about half a boat length off it, so having to hit the brakes, wash off a bit of speed.
Rossa Prada Pirelli will come in a little bit late, just like Ineos did in race 9 earlier today.
Be interesting to see if Luna Rossa choose to engage a bit more to take it to the British.
British just putting the boat straight up onto the breeze there, so rolling into attack and then possibly a loop around, so I'm surprised to see Luna Rossa roll down the boundary from here. In their own time on distance for the start, the British will be coming in either jumping or pushing.
Slowly coming down, boys.
Luna Rossa always less keen to engage. They like to just be protected by the wall, by the boundary edge.
Happy to jibe.
Jibing here.
Luna Rossa jibing back early. Ineos Britannia
Happy to go low lead
on the height.
Give way boat, the British team. Luna Rossa right of way boat. Luna Rossa going for the hook here. Oh, no grip, they've lost the rudder.
Killing 10 for the pen here. Backing up. Your wheel. Come on. You can push on the main.
Control now to the British team.
We are almost racing, okay?
Yep. Pretty good high mode here.
Yeah, high mode is good for us.
The British there letting him off the hook.
No, we're going to kill a little.
No, kill a little bit, Okay, almost racing here. Wait.
Potentially even start.
Not yet. Stay up here, stay up.
We're killing 2. Killing 1. Just getting safe from the pin. Clear on here.
Yeah, you got.
Building now. Easier switch. Killing 3.
No lower.
7.
Slowly edge.
Stand by, boys.
Racing.
Go.
Racing.
Race 10 is live and a go in the Louis Vuitton Cup. It is a must-win for Luna Rossa.
Nice it, boys. Good speed. Didn't need too much height to get rid of him, but agreed.
We'll have to go pretty soon. Choose your moment.
To the British.
Any time for me.
They were 2.3 metres back from the line, doing 36 knots. Currently moving forward on Luna Rossa. They can't live there much longer.
That's nice there.
Just threading the eye of the needle to hang there. The Italian team.
They're building out attack. You get a 35. Yeah, there you go now. Okay, all the way. Stand by. And board. 2, 1, made. Standing. I will. 2, 1, come board. And then get the target. Go. Nice guys, having to push it.
Nice tack on board both boats, but a little advantage to the British team. And they'll be looking to sail a slightly faster mode now across and actually tack inside on the next exchange to try and take control of this race early on.
Luna Rossa really trying to move forward, go fast towards the right-hand boundary.
Maybe J-spot, That'll make for that next puff.
I'm not sure you will be able to protect.
Nothing in this, 22 metres.
Stand by.
Looking for a flat spot.
Yeah, wait for this wave, guys. Huge wave.
A little bit of heel.
Luna Rossa choosing to go back in the middle of the track.
2, 1, more down.
Asking questions of Emirates Britannia.
Stand by. Okay, board down. Board down. 3, 2, 1, standing.
This is a big move.
High build here. 2, 1, going forward.
Anytime.
Nice there. Pressures to leeward at the moment, all clear. He will tap.
So the Italians having to immediately tack to clear their air intakes. They were getting an absolute windscreen full of dirt there.
Want to go back? Well, what do you want? I'm happy. Whatever you want. Big right here at the moment. Okay, happy to
Picking the moment when to tack's crucial with the seaway running. So hence why we're seeing sometimes little delays before they rip into attack, because you pick the wrong moment, you get punched back because of the seaway. The right hand seems to be the favoured side. That's the side that's being protected. Quite a lot of leverage between the two boats now. Ineos didn't actually go back with Luna Rossa. That's given Luna Rossa quite a lot of leverage, quite a lot of lateral gain, and it would only take a little bit of a right-hand wind shift, and Luna Rossa will be right back into this one. Crucial, this top mark rounding, who's ahead.
Emirates Britannia had great pressure on that left-hand side. Good shift, massive gain.
That is a huge gain early on. They'll be hoping to keep in that left shift to get around that right mark.
If you want. Just keep the manoeuvres down. Advantage 100.
Calm words from Ben Ainsley, just keep it simple, less manoeuvres.
At the top gate for the first time in race 10 to complete leg 1 of 8. And again, it's Emirates Britannia, like race 9, leading Luna Rossa through.
Get in that. Okay. I catch. Holding up, yep.
Quite low in the right height there on the foil arms on the Italian boat. Sailing into good pressure though.
Nice shift here.
Luna Rossa Prada Prali, but the British doing a slightly smoother. You just see the turn rate there, just a little tighter and getting to that downwind angle a little earlier on the British boat. Little gains there.
That's a spot.
Emirates Britannia extending here. Looks so good, particularly on this downwind leg.
And forward down.
You like what you see, Glenn?
They're sailing the boat well and just needing to keep it nice and smooth. Looks like in some of the turns, the British team possibly just having a little more grip than the Italian team. They just look like they get from full power to full power, possibly just a fraction quicker than the Italians. So just being able to get back onto full throttle, just that split second earlier, taking a gain.
Reload in 5. and get one in. I think we continue
This
with
is
that
the
then.
race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the course axis to 095.
Slight rotation in the breeze, as predicted.
A little bit skiddy, Leroy. Copy that. I'm a little bit skiddy. Copy. Fine. Stay line on the boat, but a little more.
So Ben Ainsley there talking to Lee McMillan, just getting him to sink the stern just a little more for a bit more rudder immersion.
1, made.
Sacrifice a little bit of performance for more accurate steering, which in turn brings the performance back again.
Thanks to me. Gonna get the hook out.
So much improvement on this team. Hard to believe how far they've come the last month here in Barcelona.
Straight in left. 30.
So they will be laying down for that left turn. Luna Rossa jibing on the lay line.
Try and keep it simple. Okay.
Looks like they've pushed that lay line quite hard, so possibly just going a little further than they needed to.
Hey, Mark. Okay.
Ineos Britannia, complete leg number 2. 6 to go. Dare they dream? Dare they dream that they get the breakthrough today?
Really important to get the jibs trimmed on early in these conditions, just to get the balance back into the boat again, unload the rudder, make sure that...
Hey, get it going, boys. Lock her in.
The boat's locked in, as Jimmy Spithill says for me.
There's a lot of confidence of fans of Ineos Britannia. They've seen this series go back and forth, back and forth. Are we about to witness the breakthrough today and no more deadlock series? Some way to go, though. 5 legs.
Concentration on Dylan Fletcher, top right. Ben Ainsley.
To see the crew getting absolutely ragdolled inside those cockpits as the boat's doing 40 knots going upwind through this seaway. Really bumpy ride.
I'll give you an update, Siobhan. Yep.
Happy with the pitch here, Ben?
Yep. I think we want to hit them just because we want to protect this right.
Hard to get there, obviously. Just see where he tacks.
Okay.
So good being able to listen to tacticians on both boats.
I think we have to bail out.
Fantastic aerial shot as the British just put the clamps on. Italians, just as they get to the edge of that foil wash, that is where the edge of the dirty air is at that particular point in time.
Good pressure in 5.
Jimmy Spittle steering. Francesco Bruni painting the picture.
How's the balance, Jimmy? Pretty good now, yeah. And the pressure feels great.
Luna Rossa Prada
Nice path here.
sailing into
Pressure
more
up here.
pressure on the left-hand side of the track. We saw Ineos
Both
Britannia do well up there in the last
Nozzle
upwind.
over. Nozzle over, yeah.
We've got potentially good gains to the Italian team of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Some nice flat water at the moment and sailing into big pressure, so possibly sailing into a lefty, which will mean that they will sail a closer angle to the top gate than they would have done if they were in a right-hand shift or a medium breeze.
How's longer than that?
No.
Something more to build?
No.
What do you think on the top?
All about. Honestly, there's very good pressure on that right corner.
Probably edge left here.
British team on a righty as well, so a split breeze. And
he's probably going to swap
sailing
with
good
us here,
angles.
this righty.
And going through the transition of those breezes here.
Hey, drop it. Just check, yeah.
One, more down.
big right-hand shift coming. Just out beyond the top mark, there's a big cruising boat, and it looks to me as though it'd be as much as 10 degrees higher in terms of the right-hand shifts. So a big right-hand shift coming, and I'm sure Ineos have already seen that as they look up towards the top mark.
Still plenty of food on the table on offer for which way they take. Lots of shifts and puffs to deal with, so eyes out of the boat.
This, once again, is a race of control. And in control right now of race 10 is Ineos Britannia, the official challenger of record. They lead 5-4.
8 hands on the move. High trav. Help to ankle. 2 flat legs. 3, 2, 1. Working
3 legs completed.
2.
Fairly even upwind leg by both teams, but if you've got your nose in front, you can dictate. And Luna Rossa are going to have to find something.
Still nothing in this race, really. Just one little wobble, one little skid by the British team, and Luna Rossa will be right with them. That was a great bear away.
Luna Rossa fans will be sitting there waiting and hoping that they can again level this up. But you know who's in front right now? That's the Ineos Britannia team. Oh yeah, they know it. That's a Luna Rossa fan. It's on the knife edge. It's on a knife edge.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the course axis to 098.
Would have thought the Louis Vuitton final would be so windy. I mean, we did not expect this. The designers, I think, didn't expect this, and certainly the sailors.
All right, let's give it a go.
It has been full on.
Still pretty good ride at the moment.
Years of development and study and the average conditions of what you'd be getting at this time of the year, and we're certainly seeing in this final series the very top end of all that, and certainly sea state at the moment. You just see how rough that is, and these boats absolutely blowing these waves to pieces. Right on the edge, very, very difficult to sail the boats well.
Still a bit to go. Pressure's down a little bit, I think.
Huge concentration on the face of Dylan Fletcher there. Gold medalist from Tokyo.
Big letdown.
See the crew there bouncing around both sides of the boat. Is an absolute bucking bronco down there. The TV just does not do how much that boat will be moving justice. Little kiss. They need to control it here, the British.
Holding. Yeah, okay, peel now. Big boys coming up.
Right on the edge there.
Lost the rudder.
Lost the rudder.
The rudder. Easy. Okay. Coming back now.
Nervous moment on Ineos Britannia. Did well to catch that.
Yeah, the issue now is they're not going to be settled for this bottom rounding, so...
Holding it forward. Puppy. Settle it down, boys.
Big coast.
Around up road, go cruise. 3, 2,
Leading leg number 4, we're halfway through. Ben Aziat asking the boys just calm it down, losing them a little bit more, a little moment, but it's opened the door slightly for Luna Rossa Prada Pro to close up the distance.
Big push, boys. Are you trying to build here, boys?
Is this the opportunity now for Luna Rossa?
Well, that was a huge moment. You see how much the Italian team have closed up behind. They'll be getting settled.
2, 1.
Very, very nearly massive moment there for the British team. They have to execute well from here. Just in control, but only just.
Let's go. Lock it in.
Not the best tack.
Yeah, they did well, though, to limit the damage. Still very much in a good defending position here.
Power up, please.
Although just looking at the meters, they are bleeding away.
Stand by. Hold down. Hold down.
Boys, right with you. Keep pushing. Pass build. Yep. Because we will be coming back. No, just hit the target and we go.
Jimmy Spittle calling for the push right back in this.
No speed back here.
No, 3. Need to push out of these tacks more important.
Getting out of phase.
Tacks going straight. Taking
So, right up the exhaust pipe again of the British team, sailing well. The Italians pushing hard. British now deciding just to go nice and simple, almost a bit too close to defend, so they're just going to need to lock in and minimise manoeuvres from here.
2, 1, mate. Heading. Stand by. 2, 1, going board.
The Oz tack to come back towards Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, but we've seen a slight style change here from Jimmy Spittle and Francesco Bruni, now throwing a few tacks at Ineos, just mixing it up a little bit. And initially off that bottom mark, after a bit of a glitch for Ineos, Luna Rossa are coming back at them in these the tacking duel that's going now, and if they keep that going all the way to the top mark, they're going to be very, very close by the time they get to Mark 5.
Well, potentially the British, as Pete said, I've got a feeling that they've let the Italians off the hook a little bit here. The Italians just need to hook into one little shift out that side with this split, and they'll get massive leverage over the British team. So the British rolling the dice, letting the Italian team off the hook.
On board Ineos Britannia's chase by the Giles Scott. Have you let the Italians off their hook? Have you opened the door?
I just caught wind of rolling the dice. We're certainly not doing that. No, the guys are doing really well. It's got super close here. Just lost that rudder at the bottom of our last downwind leg, which is tightened the game right up here. And I think it's all about getting the shift right into this top gate here. It's close.
Giles, how unstable is the conditions? What are the opportunities here?
Yeah, it's an interesting day. Excuse me. Big, well, generally a right trend throughout all the racing here, and we're seeing a wind direction up towards 105 at the minute, which is about as far right as we think it's going to get during this race. And yeah, the guys have been doing a good job of making the most of that, and hopefully this looks like we're setting up for a right turn here. Hopefully that goes quite nice for us, but yeah, we'll see.
Thanks, Giles.
Angle, 3, 2, 1, down.
We are on again at the top gate. 5 legs completed, and it's still Ineos Britannia leading. Guess who's following right behind them? Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
I'll catch you, boys.
Good. 50 knots there. Big waves, big touchdown on board the British team. They'll wash off a bit of speed, but they are just in control there. Some really big loose moments on both boats.
2, 1, board down.
Luna Rossa have to keep pushing. They have to make something happening. Only 2 legs left after this.
Italian fans now thinking, hang on a minute. We're on leg 6. It's on. We're not done with yet. Here we go, Italia.
Good one. Good pressure here.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the axis to 102.
Happy with one and then left then? Oh, some bad waves coming here. Easy, Joe. Bad wave here.
It's just punching through the broken water at the top of those waves, so really key not to ventilate the foil. That broken wave could potentially completely blow the flow up on that leeward foil, so the foil trimmers having to identify those waves and sink the boat a little lower to actually keep the flow over that foil attached.
So important to pick your time for the manoeuvre, patience. Bled and Mon, Trimmer, fully focused. What a job they have had today. McMillan on the other side.
Down here. 2, 1, mate. Nice and slow. Standing here.
Trimmer's at the back of the boat.
And right one here.
Eyes firmly on the foils.
Nice accurate jibe in a slightly flatter patch of water there. Seen how many lumpy bits they've got to go through. A couple of flat spots and a couple of really wavy bits. Needing to keep that rudder fully immersed for grip. We've seen a couple of spin outs from both boats, so...
Careful not to do the up out the mark. Keep the speed on if you can.
Ineos Britannia has done a sterling job this afternoon in this race, particularly race number 10. This could be landing a big blow if they can continue here with 2 more legs to go. They've recovered from that moment. They've rounded to complete 6 legs. And now they're up leg number 7. Last upwind leg in race 10.
And turning.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening to 1.65 nautical miles.
That's what. Good rounding, boys.
A little bit less wind now, 15 knots.
Come up.
Nice, good balance.
Straight line, we'd be seeing 2 to 3 more knots normally of boat speed in flatter water conditions, so the sea state really knocking the top speed down. Cyclors explaining what settings the boat are in for the exit of the tack for the helmsman and trimmers.
Grip. Okay, all good, Andre. Back.
This is good.
On board the Rossa Prada Pirelli chase boat once again with Philippe Presti. Feel like I'm asking the same question. How can you get out of this one, Philippe?
Stand by, guys.
Well, this time we have a sail that matches a little bit the conditions, so we're more in a hunt. Except that the boat is more balanced, and it's very shifty, the breeze, with a slightly trend to the right. And so, yeah, good opportunities in terms of shifts, but I think the big deal is the pick up the wave to maneuver. You know, if you can do attack in the flattish spot, you make a big gains.
Philippe, just so important to execute those manoeuvres in flat water, and still absolutely nothing in this race. Just one mistake and your team will be right back in there.
Exactly.
Thanks, Philippe.
Welcome.
Nice lefty.
3, 2. Nice one down.
Nice. Great tack.
Nice, boys.
Really nice tack on board Luna Rossa there, as we heard.
We
British
gained something there.
really needing to keep sailing their boat well. They'll be feeling the heat. There on the back of their neck will be standing up, so they know that they cannot make one wobble in this final sector of the upwind leg.
Sailing with lots of heel on Ineos Britannia.
Good pressure here. Nice
Still cold
riding.
with a sea stay.
Ineos Britannia just having a slightly deeper bustle or underbody under their boat and having to sail slightly more leeward heel. A little wider cant for them, but the effective cant being roughly the same, running a slightly different aerodynamic package and hydro package than the Italian team, but very similar performance as we've seen for this whole Louis Vuitton final series.
Turning. 2, 1.
For me, the downwind speed of Ineos has been impressive, and that's given her a buffer over Luna Rossa every time an attack comes from the trailing boat.
Ineos Britannia are about to complete leg number 7 of 8, and then they'll be looking downwind to the finish line.
3, 2, 1 now. Backing away.
And a monumental moment if they do it right in the Louis Vuitton Cup.
Right on the edge, the British team, 51 knots. Luna Rossa probably down a couple of big swells as well. Super tricky conditions for all the crew on board. Right on edge of control. Everyone's holding their breath, as we were as well. Can't breathe yet.
There's almost a hushed silence, isn't there? Come on, Luna Rossa fans. You've still got one leg to go.
Big pressure.
Touchdown a little for the British there. They've washed a little bit of speed off. But they should be able to build the speed again. Lead staying very, very similar.
Happy if you want to take some more main now.
Rossa on the charge though, 47 knots of boat speed, nearly 48, British only 44, so they'll be reeling them in. Both boats, one more manoeuvre each to that finish line. Luna Rossa got the British team in their crosshairs.
Halfway down this track, Luna Rossa running out of runway.
Both boats, one more jibe each.
Give it a little bit at the bottom.
See how wide the jibs are being sheeted. Apparent wind slightly further around these bumpy conditions to make sure that mainsail is working efficiently, balancing the boat.
One made. Nice and smooth. Oh well.
Final manoeuvre, Ineos Britannia.
Hang on, boys. Hang on to it. Right on the edge there.
Everything to the finish here, lads. Yeah, into the finish. Everything. Nail it, lads.
Day 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. And after 4 days, we're about to see the deadlock broken and a huge body blow thrown by Ineos Britannia. They are 6-4 in the lead and one win away from the Louis Vuitton Cup final and a berth in the match.
Happy. Okay, happy. Ain't nothing lucky about that, boys. Nice work.
Well, what a race. That was absolutely on edge, a real nail-biter, and congratulations to the British team of Ineos Britannia. Really, really well sailed under pressure. The whole team doing a nice job, and wow, Luna Rossa certainly gave it to them.
We heard Ben say nothing lucky about that win. They earned every metre. Great job, beautiful sailing, immaculate execution.
On a day when control was required in a sea state that pushed both these big AC-75 yachts around, Ineos Britannia have done the job, and now they are one win away from lifting the Louis Vuitton Cup. They can now dare to dream. Race 10, confirmation, a tight one at that, an 8-second win to Ineos Britannia. And the deadlock is broken. It is finally broken. And it's 6-4. Ineos Britannia, 7, and you're on the way to the match.
Well, both boats were a little early for the start, having to run away along the line, and it was so even, wasn't it? But just with their nose ahead, Ineos Britannia, and with great pace, and they used that to their advantage. It set them up for the whole leg. By leg 3, Ineos Britannia still ahead, not much in it, but really played the course well, defended when they wanted to.
Happy with the pitch here, Ben?
Great race for them.
Any time. Down.
The downwind here, just coming through this drive. Couple of big touchdowns just on the edge of grip and control. An absolute bucking Bronco. The crew doing a great job to keep the wheel nuts on.
Still ahead when they turned round, but Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli had caught up. They were on the prowl. Beautifully sailed race by Ineos Britannia. They go 5. They go 6 for Dave Owen.
That's a ticket.
And that's what it meant.
Time to go on board Britannia, have a chat to our helmsman in the sense of Ben AZ. Ben, you're 1 win away from the Louis Vuitton Cup on a day when control was required. How good?
It's great. Good effort from the team. You know, it's bloody hard to sail these boats and these waves. It's just hard to explain to people just how tough it is. Team did a great job, so obviously great get the 2 wins, and still a long way to go. Still need to get to 7.
Ben, when you crossed the line, you said there was nothing lucky in that victory. How much did you feel you earned every metre of it?
Oh yeah, there's a bit of chat going around, I think, from certain sections of the Italian media that, you know, can win a race on our own. I think we proved them wrong today.
All right, let's jump across to Dylan Fletcher. Dylan, 1 race win away from the match. How are you feeling after that performance today? Finally broke the deadlock.
Yeah, fantastic performance by the team. As Ben said, it's not easy to sail the yachts in these conditions, and yeah, really well managed, and looking forward to tomorrow already.
All right, I appreciate the time and congratulations on 2 race wins today. We'll go across to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Jimmy, tough day out, pressure's back on again.
Yeah, it was really challenging conditions. Full credit to Ineos for getting those 2 race wins. The boys kept fighting the whole way to the end, but yeah, just no mistakes, and yeah, we'll come back out the next day swinging.
Jimmy, did you feel the British team had were better in performance? What was it? What made the difference?
I think we'll just have to go and have a look. I mean, they obviously had an edge on the first one, but the second one I thought, you know, pretty similar. A couple of times we closed it back up, but yeah, just couldn't get enough to get an overtake.
We'll go across to Francesco Checco. It's one of these days we've been talking about comebacks, but now you've got to win 2.
Yeah, it's gonna just be more flavor in it, you know. I'm full trust on the team and on the boys and on the boat, so I honestly, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, all good.
Francesco, the boats look extremely difficult to sail in these conditions. I don't think the TV really does it justice. What's the feeling like on board when you're actually going around the top marks in these wavy conditions?
Yeah, it's as you said, it's really on the edge, absolutely on the edge. Any bigger waves or more wind and would be, I would say, almost catastrophic. But yeah, today was raceable, was nice, was windy, wavy, and Ineos did a better job than us. So yeah, looking forward to speak with our coaches and come back stronger tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow, mate. Good luck.
Ciao.
Let's have a quick look at one of the key moments in the pre-start. Great Britain and Italy were clear about wanting to lead back to the line. And if you both want the same thing, it means you could end up pretty close to each other. And at 30 knots, Luna Rossa came within 5 meters of Ineos, desperate to break out of that British control. Racing these boats will always raise your heart rate, but a pre-start like this means your nerves are very much on the edge before the start gun has fired.
Just having a look at some of the data here. A really important win, obviously, for Ineos Britannia, and they take the top of all the numbers on this first page. Again, if you have to get to the fraction to separate the boats, but those fractions are slightly better for GBR. So close on the distance sail, just 23 metres of difference around that course. On the scoreboard, GBR are pulling ahead, but the data shows it remains so close. Getting one more win over Italy is far from a certainty.
So the needle has shifted. Ring the bell, Britannia fans. You're 1 win away from the match. For 4 days, we've been wondering when that deadlock will be broken. It was done today, and it was done in conditions that challenged both boats and their sailors, and they really did a magnificent job in Ineos Britannia. But as always, Benazzi says, yeah, still got a long way to go. Let's just go on the water quickly with Peter Lester. Peter, Ineos just strong, simply strong.
Yeah, and a difficult day for both teams, but Ineos, for me, their race execution today, their boat handling, they were playing the bigger picture, and I thought they did it excellently. Every time they got a little bit close, their downwind speed got them out of trouble. About 5 lengths each downwind, I had them being faster, and that Luna Rossa jib choice in race 9, I bet they rue that one.
Yeah, I think Luna Rossa were a little bit outsailed today, a bit short of pace in the first race, and Ineos Britannia just executed better from the get-go, from the start line. So a lot for this Italian team to think about tonight, but we have seen them before come out firing in the next race, and when the chips are down, they can quite often deliver.
Yeah, but the one thing about sport is momentum, and now there is huge momentum with Ineos Britannia right now.
Look, they're certainly sailing well, and a massive couple of points for them today. It is not over yet by any means, but in these big bumpy conditions that we saw today, a real stamp of authority there from the British team.
So there we go. They will go to bed tonight pretty happy, but they know on Friday the job could be done, or it's still alive again. We shall wait and see. Britannia fans dare to dream. Well, that man there, Bled Mon, dreamed of turning his passion to sailing into a full-time job, and now the 31-year-old aerospace engineer is living the dream as a sailor and a member of Britannia's performance and analysis team.
So I grew up sailing in Anglesey as a little boy. I guess originally it was the freedom kind of sailing offered. Go out there, just kind of you and the elements, be it in the waves or just with the wind. My first kind of memories of America's Cup would have been kind of early 2000s. I definitely recall my dad kind of watching it on TV, and at that time my focus for sure was around kind of dinghy sailing with the kind of Olympic path in mind. But that for sure changed during the Cup in 2013, and watching that America's Cup in San Francisco and where the boats had got to in the AC-72s was really kind of spectacular. And that's really what kind of drew my attention to the America's Cup and made me think that, yeah, that's what I want to be involved in. I studied mechanical engineering at university and specialised in aerospace engineering. And I think for sure having that understanding helps in my position as a sailor on one of these boats. Yeah, so this is my third America's Cup campaign now. My first one was back in Bermuda in 2017. And yeah, when I first joined that team in Bermuda, it was actually predominantly as an engineer. I'd recently just graduated from university, and yeah, it was really kind of my first into the team. As that Cup progressed, I worked really hard at the time on kind of the physical side and the fitness training, and actually ended up fortunate enough to be able to grind on the boat. Hard to believe now, maybe, but then since that campaign, yeah, was fortunate enough to get involved again for the America's Cup in Auckland last time round, and kind of a sequence of events unfolded kind of towards the latter stage of that campaign, and ended up being the mainsail trimmer on board in Auckland. So that's really what led to this time round being involved for the third time, and again being part of the kind of the trimmer pilot group here at Ineos Britannia.
Go on then. Hands on the move.
The America's Cup is clearly a technical challenge. We have these massive design teams behind every competitor in the America's Cup who are working hard to design the fastest boat. But as sailors as well, we have a responsibility to assist in that area and give feedback and work closely with them. And for sure, my background with an engineering degree has helped in that area, allowing me to help kind of communicate from the sailing side back to the design team, but also helping to explain some concepts from the design side to the sailing team. And I think it's a vital part for developing a fast boat. You can't just rely on the design team to come up with a design. Like, there's definitely a two-way interaction there. To win the America's Cup for me would be absolutely incredible. Having been involved in this team for 3 campaigns, yeah, it would be absolutely unbelievable to be part of a winning America's Cup team, and yeah, to finally bring the cup back to the UK.
And Ineos Britannia have taken a little step closer. The short team pretty happy about that, because Britannia now 6-4 ahead in the Louis Vuitton Cup final. And these are the unseen folk that do so much work to make sure that those race yachts are in perfect trim and ready to go. But look at that, there's a few smiles. And oh, hello, do you think the pressure's off a little bit now?
I think they'll be celebrating the day and sailing well, but they will absolutely not be celebrating the winning of this series. It's absolutely not over till it's over. Both teams still very much in the hunt for a great opportunity, and Luna Rossa, I think, will be, you know, although they're only, I guess, 1 race loss away from exiting the competition. They only need, you know, a good day and they're back in the hunt. They will not be backing down. They will be absolutely full throttle from here.
Surely they need to change the theme. They need to win the first race on Friday.
I think we're also going to see different conditions, so it is a complete reset, also a day off, just to kind of gather your thoughts and move forward. But as you say, Ineos Britannia have 3 goes now at winning this match between these incredible teams. Just looking at some of the key moments here.
It started with a day when they decided to engage, but then they just had to get going and get on with the job. It was a big split-tat start, and really from about leg 3 you saw Britannia take control, and that was the word that sort of kept coming back to the top of my mind for both races today: control.
Luna Rossa just wasn't quite as balanced in that first race. They were really struggling execute the maneuvers quite as cleanly as Ineos Britannia.
I think that jib being a little bit on the smaller side in that first race definitely made it hard for the crew on board, and they took a slight performance penalty. But the Ineos Britannia team from Great Britain, they really pushed hard. Only a couple of wobbles for them. And at the end of the day, on these sort of days, it's about pushing hard and mistake minimisation, and they certainly pushed the boat hard. The boat looked in balance. They possibly had a little more grip in some of the turns, some of the tacks and jibes, and just getting on the throttle again nice and early compared to Luna Rossa, and just taking a tiny advantage. But both boats being pushed hard, right on the limit of what these AC75s can do.
The recovery from the mini splashdown was the key for Ineos Britannia, because the recovery is everything. How you handle those pressure moments, then you fly across the finish line and you are 2 race wins up. And that's what it stacks at the moment. 6-4, the deadlock broken on day number 6 of the Louis Vuitton Cup. How will they sleep over the next day or so, both these teams? Because on Friday we have race 11. The question everybody will ask now: will we need race 12? If you're Luna Rossa fans, oh yeah, we're going all the way. We're going to take to race 13. It has been a show and a half to this point, and there is so much more to go. And now they sort of start the wind down. Just start the wind down. Sails away and start thinking about what they have to do. It must be hard if you're on Luna Rossa right now, as the spectator fleet head back into Port Vale to talk long into the night about this one. It was a day where Luna Rossa fans, yeah, come on, give us plenty, and they have given plenty, and it's still not done. Remember, it's just 1 race win needed by Luna Rossa to put them back in the frame. They might feel that they're on their knees at the moment, but that 1 race will change everything. It's 6-4 in the Louis Vuitton Cup final. On Friday, it goes on, or Britannia win.